Well, welcome everyone to another Mountain Man Monday. This is live stream episode number 34. Today is July 6th, 2020. I want to welcome everyone here. It's going to be here tonight live, and everybody who is watching later on the Mr. Mountain Man YouTube channel. Live streams are always archived under the live stream playlist if you'd like to access them, and as well as the most current episode under the videos tab, you can always see as well. So we'll give it a few minutes. I hope everybody had a wonderful July 4th weekend, a safe weekend. Enjoyed whatever you did. Had a good time myself. I'm sure we'll have opportunity to talk about that tonight. And just in the thick of summer. It's in July. It's getting hot. And it's nice to be outside, but yet still being safe at the same time. So once again, we'll give it a few minutes and get the live stream rolling today. Well, let's see what we've got here. We have Saxy Matt. Saxy Matt, how are you doing? I hope things are going well in your neck of the woods and you had a nice start to the week on this Monday and a nice July 4th weekend as well. And anybody who's here, feel free to let us know what you've been up to and what's been going on. We got Foxy Wolf. Hello, Mr. Mountain Man. Yeah, we'll give the two. Hold on. We'll see if we can get it in the picture. Boom, boom. And then we got the fireworks there. I love the fireworks emoji. I used those a few times myself this past weekend. I hope you had a great July 4th and a safe July 4th. And we've got Rita Lockett in the house tonight. Hello to you. I hope you are having a great start to your week and a great, had a nice weekend for July 4th. Of course, this year is a lot different than past years because, well, for the obvious, which is the pandemic that we're still in the middle of. And let me keep the pipes lubricated here. Yeah, it's just a little different this year because there were really few fireworks displays. And so there wasn't as many outdoor normal summer activities as usual. Well, hello, Lily. And it says here it's a quick hello, can't stay safe and catch you all on replay. Well, we appreciate that, Lily. And I hope everything's going well up in your neck of the woods in the Northeast. And hope you had a great start to your weekend, July 4th. I'm not sure which festivities happen up there because maybe whether or not the holiday is fully celebrated, but still hope you're having a nice summer and everything is going well. So yeah, folks are rolling in here and great to see you as always. We always have a nice group of people here and I always enjoy talking with you each week. Rita said, I stayed home and got my air conditioning put in and it's freezing me. You know, Rita, well, first of all, good on the air conditioning because I remember the report last week that it had broke. I believe you had mentioned an air conditioning that had broke, and that's no fun in the summer. And it always happens to all of us, right? It's always in the thick of summer, and the air conditioning goes out, and you kind of cross your fingers. Sometimes it's something easy, and then other times it's a pain. It's expensive. I remember when we lived in Florida, there was this drain pipe that came out of the furnace area and went all the way to the back of the house. Well, because Florida was so humid, if that drain pipe backed up from like mold and soot and mildew, which it did because of the water condensation constantly running, it would kick this little switch off and then the air conditioning would report it wouldn't work. Like your thermostat would say, air is not working and all this. And after a couple of times of panicking about it, about once a year, it would do that, and we got the habit of it. So what you had to do is pour like a cup of bleach down that tube to try to keep it cleaned out. I think that was more common of a Florida thing because I haven't had that happen in the other places that we've lived. So I'm glad. And also today I finished working out and I was sweating. My shirt just dried, but when I was walking around, Rita, it was freezing cold because my shirt was damp and it was cold. I'm glad it's cold because it's really hot outside, but that can be a crazy feeling. So yeah, make sure to maybe turn the air conditioning down or just get some of that free cool breeze from the summer evening if it's nice and cool. Hey, Dale Busch, good to see you. And hello to you as well. I hope you had a great July 4th and a nice start to your week. Once again, I want to say hello to everyone here and welcome everyone to the Mountain Man Weekly Monday live stream. And I know we get a few folks, we get a lot of regulars here mostly because my channel's still smaller. But we also have some new folks that come in from time to time. I want to welcome everyone there. And also the folks that just listen in the background. I get a comment here and there, and that is 100% awesome, fantastic too. You do not have to use the YouTube chat. You don't need to feel like it. If you just enjoy the conversation, that is absolutely what we're here. A lot of people just want to listen in the background or on delay. We love having everybody, and we hope that you enjoy. I hope you enjoy the content that we come up with each week. We're going to get rolling here with our traditional format in just a few minutes. I usually let folks roll in and then get started with housekeeping and news and notes of the week. Let's see. Rita, you can cover up, but can't take off enough to get cool in this heat. Isn't that the truth? I have always said, Foxy Wolf is spot on. I've always said that that's the one thing is like, again, I make a lot of references to living in Florida. When it's hot, it's hot. There's not much you can do. You have to wear a minimal amount of clothing when you're outside. And there's extremes on the cold end too, like, Minnesota or Canada in January or February. But realistically, like if it's a little bit on the cooler side, you can always layer, and then you can, take off those layers and control your temperature. So yeah, I agree completely. It's always easier to layer and to have that opportunity to be cold than just to be blazing hot. Rita said mine was cheaper. Mine was a window unit. My next door neighbors went out, but there's a central unit. Yeah. And depending on if the outside or the inside unit, or if it's the coils or parts or the whole thing, it can get very expensive. But, once you make that investment, usually they last tens of years if they're well kept. Biggest thing about air conditioning, especially central, is always change the filter. That's the number one thing I've heard from HVAC people. It seems so obvious, but they say they go into so many houses and they see a clogged filter that just destroys the unit. So that's a big one. I agree, Dale. Everyone here is so nice. We have such a great group of people, and that's what makes Monday, Mountain Man Monday live stream so enjoyable. Saxy Matt said we had a lot of local fireworks over the weekend since most displays were canceled. Isn't that true, Saxy Matt? In our neighborhood, I could hear them going off like all over the place. So everybody kind of did their own fireworks display for July 4th. Which is, if people are safe, I think that's great. Although I did see the fire marshal like zooming down another street near us, so I hope everything was okay. But I think it was. Hey, Big Daddy, hope you're having a great start to your week and had a great July 4th. And Marvin Carlton, yeah, Marvin was usually the first. Saxy Matt beat you to it today, but want to make sure we give a shout out because Marvin is here just about probably every week. And Marvin, Rita, and Foxy, and everybody. It doesn't matter if you can or can't make it. I just want to give an extra hello to those folks that are are always involved in the conversations. All right, folks. Well, with that, let's get going. Let's get this Mountain Man live stream going and start off with housekeeping for the week of July 6th, 2020. So don't have a ton of housekeeping. Let's see. One note to make is that last week's live stream, cross your fingers, I think the video, when I looked at it, was good from start to finish, and hopefully the audio as well. I always appreciate the feedback, as all those regulars know. It's always a constant struggle. I have the best internet I can for being in the mountains, but this is what it is. And so I think I had everything locked down enough at the house to be able to use all the bandwidth, and the video was good for the entirety of the stream. Yay! I'm not going to get overly excited, but we'll see. Again, from 2 weeks ago, I thought I had it solved, but what I found people were doing was watching on demand on DirecTV, which also uses bandwidth. They didn't know that because I said satellite was fine, but they didn't realize that on demand on satellite was still using the bandwidth. So anyway, blah, 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 blah. That's me talking too much about that, but I think we're getting into a zone where I'm having higher quality live stream, so hope that works well. The other thing here, let's go with, as usual, we have the Mr. Mountain Man Instagram account. And so Yeah, here, let's see what happened in this past week. Well, I went for a motorcycle ride on July 4th, and that was through Pisgah National Forest up 276 and over the Blue Ridge Parkway. That was a nice ride. I was able to stay away from the weather. It didn't really rain where I was. It was absolutely packed. The attractions on 276, like Sliding Rock, Slippery Rock, and Looking Glass Falls. They were unbelievably busy. In fact, one was so busy that the police had blocked the parking lot. Probably not the police. It was probably park rangers. But they had blocked the parking lot because it was full at Slippery Rock or Sliding Rock. So anyway, enjoyed a motorcycle ride and also went to the North Carolina Arboretum, which is absolutely beautiful place near the Blue Ridge Parkway and 191 in Asheville. Look forward to bringing you some content from there in the future and upcoming motorcycle rides as well. So that was, it was a nice week. It was an extra long weekend. I had Friday off, and so it was nice to be able to have a little bit of extra time and do some enjoyable things also with the family as well. So the only other thing is, once again, I always plug my other YouTube channel, which is The Eclectic Handyman. I'm in the process of uploading a video and not using this current bandwidth, but separate on cell data. So there's a new video replacing some cross-axis joints on the Cobra. You guys are probably completely bored on that subject, but because I do effort to YouTube channels, although this being the primary and the most enjoyable, but I do like to tinker around and do stuff on the other channels. So I plug it. And so The Eclectic Handyman, if anybody's interested, you can find a link. But again, it's an eclectic series of videos. So without much continuity, it's nothing like this, like a travel and events type, more entertainment. That's more how-to. This is entertainment. So anyway, let me try something new here. I'm just going to quickly look at the comments to see if there's anything, so I don't get crazy behind. Looks like some folks talking about relocation. Eastern Tennessee is my happy place. Never bored, Mr. Mountain Man. Well, that's the truth. I try. Well, I'll tell you, Dale Busch, if it's not doing something fun, which is really, you guys are getting the filtered, fun part, but like everybody else here, I work and family and fixing things in the house and responsibilities and stuff. So, yeah, so yes, I do try to, when I do have fun, I try to make sure I can help, maybe enjoy it with you all and make a video or share that experience. By the way, the relocation topic is something I have talked about in past live streams and is always a topic that I don't mind contributing to, having, moved before. So if we want to talk about that a little bit later, if that happens to come up again, I'd be more than happy to, talk about that because I see some of you all are doing that. So with that completes the housekeeping for the week of July 6th, 2020. So let's see if I get better at this. Let's go over to the news and notes. I need like a little song that plays like, maybe I can get Saxy Matt to put a tune together. Anyway, I wouldn't even know how to play the music anyway. So, it just thinks like when news comes up, right? So once again, for those of you that are new to this, most of you aren't, because I see there's only about a dozen people here, but this is the format I use. I do housekeeping for random notes, and then I do news and notes related to things of the channel that are usually travel, entertainment, spawning from the mountains and other places. So it may be related to current events or the mountains, or related to topics on things that I do with travel and such that I find interesting and are a catalyst for dialogue. So again, that's the nature of the news and notes that I pull as an aggregate and put together for my Mountain Man Monday. So let's go ahead and get that started and see how well we're going to go ahead and do that this week. Let's check this out and see. Nope, that's not the one I want. Let's see. Let's try it again. Share screen. Chrome. This one. How about this one? Does this work? What does that look like? Yeah, that does work. All right. Note to self. It is, okay, presenter and then that. All right. Let's get started with the first news article. This one was out of Florida, actually. Out of Florida at the beach. And the title of it was 4th of July beachgoers leave behind tons of firework trash and complaints. So there wasn't much to quote. The essence of the article was that the beaches were packed and a lot of people left trash and debris on the beach. Now, I talked about this the other week, and there's a tie-in to this article and some sentiment that I thought about the other week in relation to litter. You know, it's so funny because when we were growing up, we were taught don't be a litter bug. And I'm actually going to talk about two things on this topic. Oops. I don't want to break the computer. Litter and vandalism. And I'm going to talk about litter first because that's what this topic is about. But I don't understand it. If you all understand and I don't, then educate me. And I'm not being tongue-in-cheek about that. I'm being serious. Like, I don't understand. Like, these beautiful places. Now, this was the beach. And that's a truck, and they came in, and there was a lot of firework debris. But this is not official city fireworks. This is just people lighting them off and leaving their garbage there. Also, is a big problem with leaving, like, you know, soda cans or trash or whatever. Like, the one place I have ever found that mildly acceptable, and I say mildly, is I've been to a whole heap load of NASCAR races. And when you tailgated, because they didn't have the sanitation and trash set up, it wasn't uncustomary that some people would leave like a small garbage bag tied up near where they parked in these massive grassy fields. And a lot of times the Boy Scouts would be walking around or whatever, collecting, you know, beer cans or soda cans. And so it seemed, again, mildly, you would always have to kind of gauge it, and still you could always pack up your trash, take it home, and then take it with you. But for the most part, national parks, we're talking Great Smoky Mountains National Park, Blue Ridge Parkway, Pisgah National Forest. I don't understand the litter situation and destroy. Like, I went on that motorcycle ride on July 4th. When I was driving on 276, riding, I should say, I passed by a dumpster, and that dumpster was overflowing. There wasn't any room left in it. And so people just started, like, there were just like bags ripped open. Of course, you have wildlife out there. It was gross. It was like gross. Like, I don't understand if it's a mentality of like, you know, this is mine, I pay taxes, so I'm just going to do what I want to do. I don't know. I'm not getting political about it. I just don't understand. Like, when we go out, we always try to keep it clean because we enjoy the mountains. Look at that picture in the background. I'm talking about where the mountains are. I mean, we want the mountains to look pretty. So when you go to the beach or you go to the mountains, I just don't understand when people do this kind of thing. I don't understand that mentality. And it's really difficult to police in wide open areas. But so anyway, that's a shame. The other part was about vandalism. So I have a video coming out of that last motorcycle ride. If you've watched my previous motorcycle rides, when I stop off at the lookouts on the Blue Ridge Parkway, there is always a sign that says what the name of the lookout is and the elevation. It'll just be like such and such mountain overlook. And then it'll say elevation 4,950 feet. And I like to read that. And if it's the video, I'll say it. If it's not the video, I still like it because I like to know what I'm looking at. Well, this weekend in particular, there were like 3 or 4 signs that had been ripped off from the parkway as apparently additional souvenirs for somebody to, you know, put in their garage or whatever. I think that's terrible that somebody would, you know, because you can go up there and, you know, they're just on with a couple of bolts. They're really thick wood signs that are carved and painted, but they wouldn't be that difficult with probably a few hand tools to take the main part of the sign. So there'd just be like empty posts and no sign. If you see my video when it comes out, I think I highlight that at the end. That's really sad. I don't know why people do that either. And the last thing I'll say, I probably sound like I'm like the complaint department is open, but when people go into like these historic cabins and all these places and carve their name in it, Like, don't do that. Like, that's not cool. Like, these are historic. We're looking at history, maybe of 50, 100, 150, 200 years old. I don't want to see John and Melissa 2018. Like, is that cool? Like, who can, like, oh, wow, John and Melissa were here. That's really cool. With a heart that can't even be drawn like a heart because somebody uses like a knife. So it's like this carved out, terrible looking heart. I don't know why people do that. Or who in the world carries around like the biggest black Sharpie in the world to write on these signs or on these cabins or whatever? I don't know. I just think that this is beauty that we all enjoy. I'm probably not speaking to anybody on this live stream that is applicable to, but I'm just curious if I'm missing something. Like, I don't know why people do it, but it's a shame. And so anyway, yeah, I had seen it this weekend, you know, when the crowds get big, and it's just really terrible to, you know, that a sense of entitlement, I guess, to just, you know, I'm gonna do whatever I want to do. So it kind of stinks. Next up, this is an article from WLOS, which is the news station here in Asheville. This is kind of bummer news. 4 Asheville chain restaurants to close for good. Now, that picture right there is a place called Copper River, which was fantastic. I just went by there like 2 days ago and was telling the family that is one place I would love to get takeout from. And because the portions were huge, the nachos there, like nobody anywhere. I've never seen one on a video. I've never seen one anywhere. Of all the travels I've done, nobody had better nachos than them. Their nachos, their steak nachos had literally like an entire steak cut up on them. They did not like cheat on like a whole bag of cheese, like vegetables. I mean, we're talking the plate is, you know, massive. And they never skimped, and it'd be like $12. And the portions were huge. The food was great, and the inside of that restaurant was awesome. I probably would have done a food review from there, but they're now closed. And the reason that they're closed is, you know, obviously because of what's hurt. So from the article, News 13 has learned 4 chain restaurants, by the way, 3 of the 4 of these I've been to, in Asheville have recently closed. Bonefish Grill, I'd been there years ago for my anniversary. Cece's Pizza, been there a lot. McAllister's Deli, I've been to one, but not that one. And Copper River will not be reopening. From the article, I think what we're seeing is just this rebalancing of the economy as we recover from the pandemic. Western Carolina University economics professor Edward Lopez said, I think older restaurant brands are scaling back because they just don't have that sustainable long tail of plan to see them through these major hits that they're taking. One of the restaurants, I believe Bonefish, said that their lease expired this month, so the location is closed. All employees will receive a severance package. We appreciate the community support for the past 12 years. You know, restaurants, I can think of like no other business industry right now is just taking the hardest hit. And so it'll be interesting to see, not just in my local area, this is just one article, but everywhere, wherever you travel, your hometown or wherever, which restaurants actually make it, which ones recover. And this was really unfortunate again, because I liked these restaurants, but I think sadly we will continue to see some more restaurants like this end up closing. So we'll just have to keep an eye out and see, you know, what ends up happening. All right. Next article. This is an interesting one. If you follow me on Twitter, again, this is a news article, so I'll comment on it, but this is directly from the news article. This is Fox 17, which I believe was out of Knoxville, Tennessee. The title of it was Digging Out the Truth About Masks. There was a lot of interesting points in this. From the article, Dr. James West, he's a top scientist at Vanderbilt, so that says something. He's looking at how the coronavirus gets into the lungs. He's an expert in condensed matter physics, which means he's crazy smart. This is all from the article. Quoting him, these aren't predictions. These aren't projections. These aren't theories. These are measurements of what's happened with huge amounts of people. There is nothing theoretical about this, Dr. West said. Just by wearing a mask and nothing else, you reduce the odds of getting coronavirus by 70%. That's from the article. That's from this article that this Dr. West from Vanderbilt said. He also was quoted saying, "The virus doesn't care what your political opinions are, who you heard from what. The virus spreads mostly through breath. So whatever you can do to protect yourself from having other people's spit wind up in your mouth," that's a nice visual, "that's what it takes to stop the virus. And the rules to do that are the same no matter who you are," Dr. West said. The other study said that the best thing any country did in the world to stop the virus wasn't shutdowns, isolating, trying to achieve herd immunity, or different drug treatment protocols. It was simply wearing masks. I don't know how many people think they've become a doctor that I've heard, and they're like, herd immunity, herd immunity. Everybody's become a doctor in their own right. I am not. I am just quoting this article right here. Quoting him again, "All of us want to stay open. This virus is not just bad for your health. It's bad for the economy. It's bad for jobs. I really want to stay open," Dr. West said. "I have kids who I want in school next fall, and the best way to stay open is to stop the spread of the disease through relatively simple things like put your mask on." This is interesting. Listen to this. This is him. "Putting your mask on is a whole lot better than staying at home. We could knock this thing out in about a month." So here's the next couple of interesting facts. And the lack of masks in aggravated and impatient Tennessee has led to a surge in the coronavirus. Tennessee just had its biggest case day ever. Now, this was published last week, so that's what they're quoting. Listen to this. Nashville broke its record. Gatlinburg, Pigeon Forge, they're up almost 500% since June 1st. That's big because a lot of these areas, as we've seen, people are just not wearing masks. They're throwing caution to the wind, and just don't think that this is something that needs to be reckoned with. The last thing it was quoted from saying is, Dr. West, "I hate to say it, but the epidemiologists have done us a disservice by giving us mixed messages," Dr. West said. "If we just had a consistent message, indoors, close without masks, you spread the virus. It's as simple as that." So I found that article really interesting because I still continue to find this a very confusing time. If you take note of society and what's happening, and it's like being back in school, like in high school or something, like peer pressure. What are all the kids? What are the shoes they're wearing? What's the clothes they're wearing? How do they behave? What's the music they listen to? Well, as an adult, if you're like, what are other adults doing? Are they wearing masks? Where are people going? Are they going to restaurants? We continue to do that. It's normal to see patterns in how people behave. And if you do that observation, what you're going to find is people are out and about, people are doing stuff, people are going out to eat, people are enjoying themselves. And it's challenging because you see all these people doing it, and it's really confusing because is it safe or is it not? First of all, one of the greatest points in that article, this is not political. People who make it political are wrong. The virus is not a Democrat, a Republican, an independent, or anything else. It's science. It's just science. It's molecules. And, it's just, this is a doctor, not me. And so I guess the net I take away from that is it continues to solidify my decision-making in being out and about as Mr. Mountain Man and doing travel and events to be very strategic and surgical about what things I do. For example, you see me on the motorcycle. Well, I'm wearing a helmet and I'm by myself. Okay, that's pretty low risk, probably low risk, period. We went to the Arboretum, but that's, I don't know how many square miles or acres or whatever. You don't have to get near anybody. Mountains and some trails. I think the biggest shock that we had where we went somewhere where we couldn't control it was when we went to Chimney Rock, and I did that video on Mother's Day. I had no idea the park was going to be that packed. So we did get close to people, but you went by at such a feverish pace that you weren't spending any length of time near somebody. But that's the takeaway I take from that. And also, is if you look at the news, again, just facts, not controversy or whatever, but you look at facts, it's on the rise all throughout the country. And a lot of these states are seeing a pretty big surge. So I initially was kind of, again, not a doctor, not that type of scientist. I was hoping that the summer months would kind of make it go away a little bit, kind of like when we think of the flu and the cold. But that is not happening, unfortunately, because if you look at statistics and facts, the cases have gone up, and especially as people continue to socialize more. So it's tough. It's tough to decide what to do. I like facts. I like Vanderbilt doctors. That kind of stuff is good feedback. So I just, but it's interesting. You don't want to put a bummer. I mean, hey, listen, I've got a family too. I want to travel. I want to go to Gatlinburg. I want to use my season passes for Ripley. We haven't been to the aquarium. We haven't been hardly anywhere. I spent a bunch of money at the beginning of the year. We might have wanted to go to Dollywood. We might have wanted to do all this stuff. We want to eat at restaurants, but we're just not doing that. And that's a choice. That doesn't mean you have to or anybody else, but it's just, it's tough and it's confusing. So we've erred on the side of caution and, again, being very strategic about how we pick what we do. So listen, I'm all about wanting to get back out. I keep saying, if the vaccine comes out and is safe, I will be first in line at Walgreens or CVS or wherever to get that stinker for $15 or whatever it ends up costing, because I'm ready for it to be done as much as the next person. But I don't know about taking my chances right now. It's tough and it's confusing. Listen, it's confusing. If you're out and practicing social distancing and you have a better strategic plan, I don't have all the answers. I don't even know. I could be completely wrong. I just try to listen and absorb science and facts to help make those decisions. So I found that article again. I believe that was out of Knoxville, Fox 17. That was very interesting. All right, next up. This was another interesting article. This just came out today. So again, to take the guesswork out of things, this came from TexMed, Texas Medical Association. What's more risky, going to a bar or opening the mail? They have this interesting chart. This just came out. And I don't know how they quantified it. Okay, so this says ranked by physicians from the TMA COVID-19 Task Force and the TMA Committee on Infectious Diseases. I just thought it was interesting because if you look, it has these areas here that say low risk, moderate to low, and moderate risk, and moderate high and high risk. So low risk, you don't need to worry about opening the mail or getting a restaurant takeout, pumping gas, going camping. Moderate low, grocery shopping, playing golf, eating in a restaurant outside. Walking in a busy downtown was a 4. So that's very interesting, probably because you're moving past people. So that's pretty good, spending an hour at a playground. Moderate risk, going to the beach. I'm just cherry picking. I'm not reading all these. School, swimming in a public pool, visiting an elderly relative, having dinner at someone else's house, because you don't know. You just think because it's your buddy or your friend that, but you don't know. If you saw recently, I'm a NASCAR fan. Jimmy Johnson and his wife have it. If you're not familiar with who they are, Jimmy Johnson is a 7-time NASCAR Cup champion. And as far as I've ever seen him on TV, he always wears a mask, or usually on TV, but we don't know what his associations and what he's done. So, this is not like an elderly only thing. Moderate high, again, trying to relate this to some of the stuff maybe I might be doing, or, going to a hair salon or barbershop. Well, I talked about that experience last week. I think I did get my hair cut because I didn't know what it was going to be like. And let me tell you something, it's just dumb luck that I didn't get it, because if the barber or the stylist had it, there's just no way I wouldn't have got it. We both had our masks, but I had to take it off at one point so they can cut near the ears. I don't know. I agree with this, that it's higher on the list. It makes sense. Eating on a restaurant inside, attending a wedding, traveling by plane, playing some sports, or hugging or handshaking. Yeah, it's funny because I was watching a YouTube video from some bodybuilder that I really respect. And he was doing a bunch of hugs and, handshakes and all this stuff. And that was crazy. That I didn't, I was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe they're doing that stuff. They don't want to get sick. The last thing, this stinks, eating at a buffet. You all know I love eating at buffets. And look at the next one, working out at a gym. So 2 of my favorite activities are at the highest risk. And the gym did open and I didn't go back. I'm still working out at home. Going to an amusement park is high. Going to a movie theater, attending a large music concert, going to a sports stadium, attending a religious service, that'd be like a church with 500 plus, or going to a bar. So that's interesting, those high risk activities. But the biggest one I think that sticks out to me was eating at a restaurant inside is a 7. I guess eating at a buffet compounds it because you're touching everything. Jim, I'm surprised a little bit by the amusement park being so high, because if you're walking in a busy downtown, but I guess what they might be thinking about amusement park is because when you get on rides, you have to touch stuff and you can't always clean every vehicle every time. I don't know, or maybe they do, but it's a futile effort to every square inch. So anyway, I don't know. This is just interesting. It's, again, more processing information. How much travel and events can I do and what's happening? These are all activities related, a lot of this stuff, to things I've done and videos I've made, going to the beach. I haven't been to the amusement parks yet, but I've done that a bunch, and eating out and, visiting places and hanging out with friends and, doing all this kind of stuff. So anyway, that came out today. That was an interesting chart. Again, helping to process the information for me on how I navigate the next, 6 months to a year as we continue to go through this. And I have to select, what kinds of videos and entertainment and things I can do with the family, or places I can go on Mr. Mountain Man and do stuff. So unfortunately, you won't be seeing me pig it out at any buffets. But if you want to see me on a buffet, you can always check out my old video on the original Benjamin's Calabash Seafood Buffet from Myrtle Beach last year. Fantastic. Great video, and makes me hungry just watching it. So anyway, we can always use a stopgap between the 2 times to enjoy the old videos before we can make the new ones doing some of this higher risk stuff. Here was a little bit of sad news that came out today. Now, I'm not a big Charlie Daniels fan, but country rocker and fiddler Charlie Daniels dies at age 83. He's the guy Devil Went Down to Georgia. I'm not a huge country music listener, but I did enjoy the movie from the early 80s called Urban Cowboy that had John Travolta in it. And he was, of course, in it. His music was, some of his songs made extra popular by that movie. And I think that movie was from like 1981. It's kind of a fun movie to watch. But anyway, that's how I know him from. I didn't ever own any of his discs or anything like that, but he did just pass away, I believe, today. Yeah, July the 6th. So at age 83, Charlie Daniels passes away. Let's, in the news and notes related to travel and such, on a good note, I thought this was from Mountain X article here about Asheville. They have these Asheville in ownership baked goods to service members. From the article, again, ending on a high note, Karen and Steve Wilson were gathering for a busy season at the Lion and the Rose. It's a 35-year-old bed and breakfast. They have operated since 2018. But obviously, because of the pandemic, they found themselves with plenty of room at the end and lots of times on their hand. There was so much uncertainty, says Karen. We wanted to stay positive and do something good to take our minds off the bad. Because both their fathers served in the Army, she decided to look for a virtual volunteer opportunity where they could help service members, and found Soldiers Angels, a national organization that provides aid and resources to active military veterans and their families. To kick off the effort, Steve, who normally makes craft beer, he incorporated his passion into a recipe for spent grain peanut butter cookies. And the Wilsons shipped their first cookies to 2 active duty members of the Army they picked from the Angel Bakers database on the Soldiers Angels website. Anyone can do this, says Karen. You don't have to be an inn owner, just someone who wants to send home baked goods to a soldier. I thought that was a real nice piece. Somebody donating their time and efforts, even through a difficult time, to use the resources they have, especially around this July 4th holiday, and to help out our service members and send them some baked goods. So I thought that was a good article. And I'm sure in the future there will be more positive articles about bears, climbing, cute bears climbing in cars and fun stuff happening in the mountains. But right now, unfortunately, a lot of it is impeded by the fact that the pandemic is still happening. And as I've discussed, it makes it a little challenging to kind of tiptoe through what can be done safely. And again, defining safely is a challenge of its own. So anyway, that will do it for today's news and notes of the week for July 6, 2020. Once again, just letting everybody know to keep contact on social media. I do have Twitter and Instagram. They use the same handle, which is Mr. Mountain_man. And so if you want to keep in touch or see pictures or things like that, feel free to follow me on that. So as always, another tradition of ours, a little bit of backlog in the comments. Let's see if anybody commented on any of the news and notes or has any topics of discussion for the remainder of the live stream. Let's see. Hello to you, Nancy J. Glad to have you here. Hope you had a great start to your week and a nice July 4th. And to Kentucky Girl as well, want to say hello. Hope you're having a great day and had a nice July 4th. Let's see. Yeah, so from the first article, unbagged and just tossed about trash, never acceptable. Okay, so at least I'm not the only one that's, has that sentiment. Dale Busch said, that's very sad, Mr. Mountain. I see things like that here as well. It's disgusting. It is. You almost, I don't know. I mean, speeding tickets, right? Like everybody gets them like, especially if you're only going like 5 or 10 miles an hour over. You wish they would do more citations for littering. But I guess it's just hard to catch people. But that would be one I'm all for. It'd be like, don't do that. Oh, or the graffiti in the tunnel that Will and Don walked through. So I'm not familiar with the tunnel you're talking about, but I've seen a lot of exactly, Saxy Matt, the tunnels or where they have like an overpass on the road or all kinds of stuff getting spray painted. I don't understand it. Rita says, I can't understand why people want to trash places. I can imagine what their homes and cars look like. Keep America beautiful. Rita, there used to be the show, they still run it in syndication, I believe, like Hoarders show and stuff like that. I don't think hoarders are necessarily litter bugs. That's not the correlation I'm trying to make. Sometimes there was a show on TLC about people who hoarded, but I think the general point is that some of these people did live in absolute filth, like cockroaches, around their kitchen and very unsanitary and stuff. And you're right. If you get desensitized to that, what in the world is stopping a person from chucking out the window a bag full of fast food, empty trash or something like that? So it is really unfortunate when that does happen. Yeah, so Kentucky Girl said McAllister's closing. Now, that was an article from Asheville, North Carolina. So that I don't think it was the chain. I didn't read that from the chain. It just said 4 area Asheville restaurants to close. So I don't think it was the entire chain. But if anybody finds out differently, please comment in chat. Restaurants closing for good nationwide. Yeah, you're right, Foxy Wolf. Again, I don't think, and this is from the second article I was speaking of in the news and notes, I don't know of any industry that's hit harder than that. Bars, restaurants, possibly. Gyms. Gyms are really struggling because most states, gyms are not even allowed to be opened yet. Like our gyms opened here in Asheville. And this was the interesting way they did it. The governor, we have not gone into phase 3, so gyms are not allowed to open yet. But gyms were able to open under a different mandate that says, listen to this. It says, you can work out at the gym if you have a medically necessary reason to work out. So what's the first thing that comes to mind? Okay, if you have to rehab or you need to do something, that's a medical reason, right? Okay, but then this is the catch, the good catch. However, because of HIPAA, if you haven't heard of HIPAA, it's basically the privacy that people cannot know about your health records. So the gym said, but because of HIPAA and health privacy, we are not allowed to ask for proof of that. So basically, you just needed to walk in the gym and say, I have a reason I need to work out. And they would just say, okay. They are not allowed to question it. So it's basically, they're opening the back door to say, this is how you come work out. Just say you have a medically necessary reason and go work out. And then they start your membership again. So it's going to be unfortunate about the restaurants are closing. But yeah, again, gyms are having a problem. Some amusement parks still haven't opened, like Carowinds in North Carolina has not reopened yet. And Disney World hasn't reopened. And a lot of people are contemplating, because of what's happening in Florida with the rise in numbers, that Disney World may punt on that date. That's speculation. I haven't heard anything official. Saxy Matt says, if you like these streams and channels, consider subscribing to this channel. It's free. I don't know whose channel that one is. Is that your channel, Saxy Matt, or mine, or somebody else's? Because of that, if it's YouTube, there's a dot there. But anyway, I have aliases on mine. So if you're interested on mine, you can just hit the subscribe. YouTube.com, Mr. Mountain Man, and YouTube.com, The Eclectic Handyman are my two, / if you didn't know that as a creator, once you get 100 subscribers, you can create an alias in your URL. So instead of having that random value, it's basically an ID that's created after the last / you can have something more legible that can be distributed. I think they just reserve that for people who end up getting serious about YouTube. The reviewer, hey reviewer, haven't seen you in a while. Hope you're doing well and having a great start to your week. Let's see. Hello, the reviewer. Good. Oh, Ted and Deborah Harrison. Good evening, Mr. Mountain and everyone else. Hope you had a fantastic 4th. You as well. We did. And welcome to the live stream, and welcome again to everybody that's here tonight, listening in the background, or those that are going to be not listening live and listening on delay later on the Mr. Mountain Man channel. Kentucky Girl says, Mr. Mountain Man, I agree with the article. If we all just put on our masks, we can get this knocked out. You know, Kentucky Girl, I am beginning to hear that more and more, again, from the professionals and the scientists, not me, but those folks that just say, if we would just quit making this controversial. Somehow masks have become political. It's this silliest thing. I do not like it. Somehow it's gotten political, and somehow there's a tinge to it that you're weak if you wear a mask. And you're if you don't believe in this, then you don't wear a mask. It's just crazy. I think it's ridiculous. I listen to people that are much smarter than me to try to decipher the facts. Again, it's a little difficult to decipher the facts. And again, you got to give people a little bit of these scientists just a little bit of wiggle room, because how many of you? I mean, you can't raise your hand, but how many of you have been through a pandemic in your life? Like, I mean, there have been like H1N1, and there was, Zika and these other things, but not on the level of this one. So to get it perfect out of the gate is tough, for people who are in charge or scientists or whatever. So some people are hard and say, well, at first they told us not to wear masks. Well, okay, that lasted for about 2 weeks. And then everybody kind of came to the consensus, wear the masks. So anyway. Oh, Saxy Matt, I didn't read far enough ahead. Here's the correct link. Yeah. And actually, you don't even need the /C. By the way, thank you, Saxy Matt. That's really cool of you to help out and post things in there. YouTube.com/. You can actually just, the C is superfluous. You can do that, or you can just say youtube.com/ Mr. Mountain Man. Foxy Wolf talking about the dogs. Hope everything's okay. Do you have a fox pet? They could have baked me a cake. Is that the article? I'm looking at the timestamp. Not sure on that one. Anybody have a birthday tonight? If anybody does have a birthday, let me know. Yes, and Foxy Wolf, that's super cool. No puppers and the Wolf Clan Cherokee keep and live on a fox preserve, hence my name. That is super awesome. Love it. That is really, really cool. Really cool background, really cool experience. If I missed anybody's birthday, please let me know. Ice cream cake. Love ice cream cakes. My favorite part of the ice cream cake is the part where it's that thick fudge, and then the very top, the icing. It makes my teeth hurt just thinking about the ice cream cold cake, because if you bite too fast, it's really cold. Rita says they made wearing a mask here in Nashville, Davidson County, mandatory, possible $50 fine. Rita, to protect others, I think that's great. There was another article I didn't post. If you all didn't see it, this is crazy. Down in Tuscaloosa, Alabama, college students were having coronavirus parties where they would purposely invite somebody This is not urban legend, by the way. Look up the news story yourself. They would invite somebody with coronavirus to the party. I think they put money in a pot, and whoever got the coronavirus first, I guess they'd have to wait to find out, was like the winner or something like that, to purposely spread it. How asinine and terrible is that? I mean, that should be like a felony or something like that. What if one of those people goes and visits grandma and grandpa, or some passes an elderly person, or strikes up a conversation at Walmart? I couldn't believe my eyes when I or my ears or whatever when I read that article. Let's see. Oh, Valley Mountain. Hello, Valley Mountain. Hope you're having a great evening as well, and everything's going well, and you are had a nice July 4th. Just looking through the comments here. Dale Busch. I like that chart too. I hope he puts a link to it somewhere. Well, here, I'll put it in the live stream because it was in the chat. It was in the slides. Hold on, let me give it to you. It is incoming. Give me 1 second. I have to get to the presentation so I can. Give me 15 seconds. And I am copying it now. Here we go. Hopefully, I should be able to post that in the chat. Again, I'm just making sure. Kentucky Girl said, Dale Busch, I like that chart. I hope he puts the link. This is the link. I just put it in. If you're listening, that link is for that chart. Yeah, the devil went down to Georgia. Saw Urban Cowboy again yesterday. Oh, wow, Foxy Wolf. Oh, yeah, I like the emojis. Because, yeah, poor Charlie Daniels. But I like that movie. My wife and I watch. I actually own it on DVD. That's pretty good. Dale Busch said, thanks for the good news article. Appreciate it. And I appreciate that feedback. Thank you so much. Oh, yeah, thank you. I do enjoy kind of an aggregate of, again, news stories that are related to the channel, travel, events, and things that we do. And then, you know, having a nice conversation around them. Let's see. We've got, so thank you for the positive feedback. By the way, if you don't like something or you know, whatever, you feel free to post it as well. Or have constructive criticism. By the way, I'm always up for a quick video check. Remember CB radios? Can I break a 19? Can I get a radio check? Come on, driver. If you ever had a CB, that's how the lingo. But I'm up for a video check. Like, tell me how the video has been tonight. Video and audio. Let me know if it's been going okay. We have Fordman, also known as Kenneth Oaks. Hello, everyone from Kingsport. First time here on your channel, I believe. I could be wrong because I follow so many channels. It's hard to keep up. Well, if it is or isn't, welcome to the channel and hope you're enjoying and hope you're having a great start to your week. And you're also in a really nice part of the country as well. I forget how far Kingsport is outside of like Knoxville and Gatlinburg. I could look it up, but I believe Kingsport is still in East Tennessee. Yes. Hello, Ken, and welcome. And Saxy Matt, that's so nice. I'm humbled. Like when people say nice stuff like that, that's just like super cool. Like even if I get more subscribers or this thing gets bigger, I hope I never glaze over comments like that. Like, thank you for the positiveness, everybody. I really like that. Ted Deborah Harrison said, with a lot of people, it's not theirs. They don't have to answer for it. They don't care. No regard for anybody else's property. That might be an excellent explanation right there. I believe this is in reference to the littering and the vandalism. It's a shame. And I agree. I agree with all the comments, like how they must live and how it is. It's just a shame. It's just, you know, like the vandalism and stealing the signs is ridiculous. Like, go find something else to do. Don't go up on the parkway and steal the signs. And littering, you know, Pisgah National Forest is interesting, and I'm going to bring you guys some more videos from that. It's a hot spot of things to do. It is also one of the main areas that I have observed and seen through some documentaries that is like the entry into the mountains from people from the south. Brevard, North Carolina, that area coming off 64 and coming up from the south, probably including people from Georgia, is a very, very popular place to get in to the mountains and do mountain-like activities. There are a slew of waterfalls and outdoor things and hiking. You do not need to go further than Pisgah National Forest to do all of that. So yes, they have it further up in the Blue Ridge Parkway or Great Smoky Mountains National Park. You don't need to go all the way up there. There's a ton of these activities and biking and kayaking and all kinds of stuff. So it's really, really busy. And because of that, there's just a lot of people and there's picnics and all kinds of stuff. And it just gets trashy. The thought is, and I saw this on a North Carolina documentary, a lot of these places only have recycle bins. They're not trying to get people to leave trash there. They're trying to send the message, you may drop your recyclables here, but please take your trash home. Yes, that means tying it up in the Walmart bag and putting it in the trunk and taking it home, which is not that nasty, or just bring a nice garbage bag with you. I mean, again, I'm not preaching to you guys. It's really more of the people. It's just crazy that people would do that. So I agree. I think that's a spot on explanation. And yes, everybody's welcome here, and we like having everybody here. Yeah, and Ted and Deborah Harrison are right. The Spanish flu epidemic in 1918 lasted 2 years. And that was something to be reckoned with for sure. I think one of the worst parts, if my history is correct, is they actually gave it to people because they thought they would do herd immunity, and it backfired on them. So it was a mess. Oh, Dale Busch, your gator came today. That's cool. I haven't ordered the gator yet. I'm still using that super small mask that pulls my ears out like this. That looks funny. So when I put the mask on, I shove my ears back so that it looks like it's okay. I'm going to still order a gator. I like the gators. Thank you for the chart, Mr. Mountain Man. You're welcome. I thought that was interesting. Just came out today. Hey, Tim Wheaton, I haven't seen you around a while. In fact, I think of people, I hope this doesn't sound crazy. I think of specific YouTube, or I guess, do I say YouTubers or people that follow the channel, or subscribers, I guess I should say, that have been on this channel. This channel is almost 1 year old, by the way, and have been on this channel for a long time, and then aren't here anymore. And there's a few folks, and I kind of remember them from time to time. Tim, you're one of them because you were always participate. Just in particular, I'm mentioning you since the beginning. Were on a lot of my live streams. So when I hadn't seen you, and I remember, if I recall correctly, I thought you said you lived near Chattanooga or something. And I remember the tornadoes and was hoping everything was all good in your neck of the woods. But anyway, it's always nice, everybody that comes. And even if you can't come, don't worry about it. I just want people to enjoy. By the way, nobody ever needs to feel like, I don't think anybody does, but nobody ever needs to feel like they have to come to the live stream. Like if I show up at one of yours or do something I genuinely only want people to come to the live stream that like the format and like the conversation. I don't want anybody to ever have to feel like, that they have to come to, I don't know. I don't even know if that makes sense to anybody. I'm just saying, I hope in a vacuum people come here because they like what we're talking about and the format and stuff. So anyway, going on tangents, but that's what happens in live streams. Hey, Tim Wheaton, hope all is well. That's right. Kenneth Oaks, look up that article. It was actually, you know what? I'll find a link real quick. That's the cool thing about Alabama. Let me see if I can find like an official site. Oh, wait. You all will have to tell me if it ended up being an urban legend or not, because let me find one of these news articles here. I'm going to drop one in here. I found WBRC here. I'll just drop a link in if anybody was interested. This is what it was in relation to. If it's true, it's terrible. even if people aren't actually having coronavirus parties, but they're just having parties in general, it's a bad idea. Because again, if they go to visit grandma or aunt or their parents, I don't even need to say grandma, or anybody, Right. Foxy Wook says HIV is pandemic and people are learning to wear protection there. And look where we are with that today. Could get prison sentence for not telling protecting people. Right. Like, I mean, right. I don't know all the legalities of it, but exactly. Like you can't like just get somebody sick. I mean, yeah, it's like right. That's what's so mind boggling. Like, right. Like people could have coronavirus and be like, oh, you're just out in public and you could spread it to a whole bunch of people because you just don't give a crap. So it is really crazy, like, that's like that. Rita says video and audio are great so far. Thank you for that. Video and audio are coming in fine. I have a friend from Kingsport who's a retired music teacher. Oh, okay. I think the musicians here, everybody will enjoy that. Kenneth said, I'm an hour and a half away from Pigeon Forge, Tennessee, and Sevierville, Tennessee, where New Horizons Susan lives. Susan, I think she's been on this a few times, this live stream, maybe she's commented on some of my videos, or maybe I'm just confusing things because I've seen her in other live streams like Yankee in the South and some of those. How about you call us the Mr. Mountain Man community? Yes, I usually do Triple M community. Like people, when people start shortening it up and just putting like 3 M's. Yeah, the Triple M community, that's a lot. I think I have to double check Twitter. I think tonight when I do those announcements about when I'm having a live stream, I think I do say, hello, MMM community. The live stream will be, again, I might be having a brain fart. You guys might be like, what is he talking about? Live stream is always fun for Mondays. Yes, and I hope you all are enjoying it. And with that, I'm like right at the 1 hour mark. I'm at the end of the comments. I'm all caught up. I don't think I missed anything. If anybody has any last comments or questions, let me know. Otherwise, again, I hope you had a nice July 4th. As was mentioned earlier, I think most people just took it into their own hands to light off some fireworks safely, hopefully, and kind of make your own fireworks display. I'll tell you one last thing that I can't believe. We watched some of the fireworks on TV. 2 channels had it. PBS is always from DC, and then Macy's. But the Macy's one I kind of skimmed through. But Macy's was done like from the top of Times Square, just 2 people, the people doing the broadcast, made me think about New Year's Day. It's already July. Can you guys believe it's already July? We are actually closer, right, to the next New Year's than we are the past New Year's. I believe, right? We're already like 6, and a few days in. So I cannot believe how quickly this year has flown by. It is crazy. It's gone so quickly. Time flies. Time flies when you're having fun. So with that, I want to say a good evening to all of you. I hope you enjoyed. And once again, thank you to the moderators for helping out in the chat. So once again, hello and good evening to Saxy Matt, Rita, Ted, Kentucky Girl, Kenneth Oaks, Tim Wheaton, Marvin Carlton, Kentucky Girl, Rita, Big Daddy, Foxy Wolf, Valley Mountain. Should I say bye to myself, Mr. Mountain Man, Dale Busch? I said Valley Mountain, right? Gosh, if I'm going to forget somebody, be like, hey, don't forget me, please. Nancy J popped in here for a minute, and I remember earlier, Big Daddy was in here, and anybody else. Anyway, you all have a wonderful week. Please have a wonderful week. We'll stay tuned to the Mr. Mountain Man channel. I should be having another video come out this week of the motorcycle ride I did through Pisgah National Forest. Hope to get that to you by the next Mountain Man Monday. Stay tuned and enjoy the videos. Don't forget, I do have lots of older videos in the catalog for anybody that's new to the channel. Click on the videos tab and scroll back through. You might find something interesting. Enjoy those. And everybody, I hope you have a wonderful week, a wonderful evening, and we will see you on the next Mountain Man Monday. Good night, everyone.